You are not allowed to step out of your room unless all that mess you've got is cleaned and everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. Now, aren't all of us way too familiar with what I just said? Aren't we always told to make sure everything is exactly where it's supposed to be? But have you ever wondered why we are told to do this? Well, one obvious answer is so that everything looks good, but also so that we are prioritizing where we keep our things. I admit, when I'm being messy, I don't necessarily find my things as easily, but that does not mean I don't prioritize where I keep my things. Usually, my most important papers are at the top of my very long stack of homework, whereas the less important and ignorable pieces are lost somewhere underneath. Can you guys please raise your hand if you think you are generally a messy person? Well, what if I say that being messy isn't all that bad and might have some advantages for some people? What if being messy, to some extent, can lead to creativity? My first reason for saying this is because messy people tend to not stick to the basic rules of making sure everything is exactly where it's supposed to be, and therefore are unconventional. This was also proven in a study in which 48 people were asked to come up with unique ideas of how a ping pong ball can be used. Half of the participants worked in a messy room, whereas the other half worked in a neat room. Although the participants in both rooms came up with the same number of ideas, a panel of independent raters rated the messy room's ideas as significantly more creative. Now, to the extent that we can trust these conclusions needs to be further evaluated. But the study concludes that, although clean spaces do have their benefits, they might be too conventional to let inspiration flow. We can also see that in movies, artists are shown as being messy. But is that reflective for you personally in real life? Which brings me to my next point. Messy environments affect people differently. Some of us in this room might work better in a messy environment, whereas some of us, not really. It's just like with music. Many of us in this room might work efficiently with music, whereas some of us might get distracted by it. Same with this. It's different for everyone. Some of us might get annoyed by the messiness, and some of us might work well. Okay, so I'd like to tell you guys something that happens a lot with me. I want to take a break from all that homework and chill, or I don't know, go downstairs. And I look around and everything is perfect. My books are in alphabetical order, my papers are all in the right folder. Perfect, right? But then, of course, this image of the perfect room goes poof, and I look around. And let's just say it's not my exact definition of perfect. I have random papers here and there from different classes, and my laptop's over here, my phone's over there, and yeah, let's not get into more detail. I am then told that before I go anywhere, I need to make sure that my room looks clean. But what if I spent my time on actually doing things I like, which is more likely to lead to creativity rather than by making sure each paper is in the right folder? In my opinion, many times, people spend so much time on cleaning up when they can use that time to do something they enjoy. Now, from the situation I just mentioned, I am definitely not saying that I should have not cleaned up throughout the whole day, but that it would be unnecessary to be organized at that particular moment when I know I'll get back to what I'm working on. Lastly, believe it or not, even some of the geniuses in our world were messy. For example, Albert Einstein and Steve Jobs. Again, I am not saying that messiness is better than being organized, and that the first thing you guys should do when you go home is spread all your papers out, trash your rooms, and then when your mom asks you why your room looks like this, to say, well, an 8th grader told me so. All I'm saying is that messiness for some of us might not be a disadvantage, but that's not an excuse to be overly disorganized. It's just that messiness, for some of us, to some extent only, can lead to creativity. Albert Einstein even said, if a cluttered desk is a sign of a cluttered mind, of what then is an empty desk a sign? Thank you.